find that guitar that punches above its weight class, you pay a certain amount of money, but you know you're getting way more than that amount, that is what you want. And I have found that here with the Paul Reed Smith S2 McCarty 594. So obviously there are differences with this guitar from the Core model. Now I'm not going to compare it directly to the Core model because that's not really fair to either guitar, but just a few things to point out that are different. The pickups on this guitar are not the same as the Core model. And honestly, based on my research with playing the Core model guitars, watching some other videos, the pickups on this guitar are going to be where you find the biggest difference. They are manufactured overseas. They sound great. They do sound great, but they're darker. They maybe lack some of the clarity and dimension that the Core model pickups that are made here in the United States have. But that's an easy fix. If you really, really wanted to, you could go out and get Core model pickups and put them in this guitar, and you are still going to be well under the price tag of that Core model. The other differences come with the neck construction. Now this neck, I think, if you counted up all of the pieces, is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish pieces of wood. The Core model neck, I think, is like 3 pieces of wood. So you can see there's definitely a difference in some of the thickness at the heel and how the headstock is constructed. But honestly, that really doesn't matter. It's a set neck guitar. It's made out of really high quality wood. The manufacturing is great. The craftsmanship is great. So I don't really hold that against this guitar. The other thing you're going to notice is the top carve. This has a much more simple top carve when compared to the Core models that have that violin-like really, really, really slick and cool carve. To me, though, I actually don't mind this. This feels very comfortable to play. I think it looks great from certain angles. You can't even tell that this is actually a much more sharp angle as opposed to just a curved edge that you would find on the violin tops. So, I mean, it's a difference, but I really don't think that it's that big of a deal. The coil splitting and coil tapping is a really, really cool feature. I think it adds to the appeal to this guitar. I think it makes it easier to justify purchasing something like this because you can say, hey, it's going to fulfill multiple roles. And I can tell you it really does fulfill multiple roles, and it does it very well. I could really only find one legitimate competitor to the S2 McCarty 594. That is the Gibson Les Paul Studio. That guitar is just slightly cheaper than this. It's still made in America. It's a Gibson Les Paul. It does have the coil splitting option, which is cool because most Les Pauls don't. I definitely think Gibson is aware of this line and is aware that, you know, adding that feature is going to definitely make people look at both of these guitars and make a choice. Now, if I had to make the choice, and this is just based on my personal opinion and my research in playing this guitar, the Core model version, I've played some really high-end Gibson Les Pauls, and I played the Gibson Les Paul Studio. I think that the gap between this guitar and the Core model is much smaller than when you compare the Gibson Les Paul Studio to its more expensive siblings. Take that for what it's worth, just my opinion, but if you're looking for that guitar that gets you way more than what you are paying for, this right here is your key. I cannot recommend this guitar enough. I hope I own one at some point. I really, really, really do think that I will, and I'll keep you posted as to when I get one and what color it is and how I get it, and you'll definitely be hearing it in some of my videos.